And so, the joke writes itself. Look who's accidentally become the main character in everyone else's psychological thriller. Hello, you magnificent accidents of intimidation, you unintentional architects of paranoia. Hello to the ones who can't sneeze without someone thinking it's a power move. Welcome to the most hilarious tragedy of modern existence, where your morning coffee becomes their conspiracy theory. They're watching you again, aren't they? Analyzing your grocery choices like they're military tactics. Decoding your silence like it's Morse code from another dimension. Reading your casual hey text 14 times, looking for hidden meanings that don't exist. And the beautiful irony is you're literally just trying to remember if you turned off the stove this morning. You posted a sunset photo and they think it's about them. You changed your profile picture and they had an emergency group chat meeting. You went quiet for 3 days because you were binge watching a show and they convinced themselves you were plotting their downfall. The truth is you forgot they existed for 72 hours, but in their mind you were constructing elaborate revenge schemes. Here's what they'll never understand about you. You're not playing chess, you're playing solitaire. You're not building strategies, you're building sandwiches. At 2 a.m., you're not calculating your next move. You're calculating how many more episodes you can watch before you absolutely have to sleep. But to them, every single thing you do is loaded with meaning, purpose, intention, manipulation. Let me paint you the picture of what's really happening here. While you're in your pajamas eating cereal for dinner, they're having full board meetings about your intentions. While you're Googling how to keep plants alive, they're convinced you're researching psychological warfare. While you're crying over a dog video, they think you're experiencing the weight of your master plan. You wore black 3 days in a row because laundry day got postponed. They think it's a statement about your emotional evolution. You didn't respond to their message because you literally didn't see it. They've written a dissertation about what your silence means. You laughed at something on your phone completely unrelated to them. They're certain it was about their downfall. The space you occupy in their mind rent-free is bigger than your actual apartment. They've created a version of you that's part genius, part villain, when really you're just trying to figure out why your socks keep disappearing. They've given you more credit for strategic thinking than you've given yourself for basic survival. You breathe and they analyze the rhythm. You walk and they study the pattern. You exist and they create documentaries in their head about what it all means. Meanwhile, you're genuinely just trying to remember what day it is and whether you already shampooed your hair in the shower. See? What's happening here is they're projecting their own complexity onto your simplicity. They think in manipulation, so they assume you do too. They live in strategy, so they think you must be playing the same game. They exist in constant calculation, so your lack of calculation looks like the ultimate calculation to them. You stopped talking to them because they were exhausting. They think it's part of some elaborate psychological torture. You moved on because life is short. They think you're sending them coded messages through your happiness. You're thriving because you stopped caring. They think your thriving is specifically designed to hurt them. The truth that would destroy them is that you think about them approximately never. That spot in your brain they think they occupy is actually filled with random song lyrics and wondering what you should eat for lunch. The emotional real estate they believe they own in your heart was actually foreclosed on months ago and turned into a meditation garden. They're playing 4D chess against themselves while you're playing with your pet or your phone or literally just playing sleep. They're strategizing countermoves to moves you never made. They're defending against attacks you never launched. They're preparing for a war you never declared because you were too busy trying to match your socks. You want to know what you were really doing while they were crafting theories about your master plan? You were trying to decide between two identical shampoo bottles. You were re-watching the same show for the 5th time. You were having a staring contest with your ceiling at 3 a.m. Not because you were planning anything, but because you drank coffee too late. Your big strategic move they keep analyzing was actually you forgetting they existed. Your power play was literally just living your life without them in it. Your manipulation tactic was the revolutionary act of minding your own business. Your psychological warfare was the audacious decision to be happy without their permission. They've created a Netflix series in their mind where you're the antagonist, but you're not even watching that show. You're watching cooking videos you'll never follow and saving memes you'll forget about. You're doing the most regular human things while they're convinced you're operating on some supernatural level of consciousness. You scratched your nose and they think it's a signal. You yawned and they think it's a dismissal. You literally just existed in their vicinity and they've written 3 novels about what it means. The mental gymnastics they're doing could win Olympic gold, while you're doing actual gymnastics trying to reach the remote while getting up. They've turned you into a legend in their mind without your consent or participation. You've become their personal boogeyman, not through action, but through their interpretation of your inaction. You're simultaneously the hero and villain of stories you never auditioned for. You're the main character in their drama, while being an extra in your own life. You change your routine because you're bored. They think you're sending messages. You try a new coffee shop because the old one was crowded. They think you're establishing territory. You smile at a stranger because you're in a good mood. They think you're building alliances against them. The amount of meaning they've assigned to your meaningless actions could fill libraries. The depth they've imagined in your shallow decisions could drain oceans. The complexity they've projected onto your simplicity could solve world peace if redirected toward actual problem. You're not even trying to be mysterious. You're just tired. You're not being strategic. You're being human. You're not playing games. You're trying to remember if you took your vitamins. But in their universe, you're orchestrating symphonies of psychological dominance, while you're actually just humming off key in the shower. Here's the thing that would break their brain if they knew. That time you walked past them without acknowledging them, you literally didn't see them. You literally didn't see them. That post they're sure was about them was about a TV show character. That laugh they heard and analyzed for hours was about a cat video you saw 3 hours earlier. You're living in a comedy while they're living in a thriller. You're in a slice of life anime while they're in a psychological horror. You're playing Animal Crossing while they think you're playing Dark Souls. The genre confusion alone could fuel 1,000 therapy sessions. They think your indifference is calculated when it's actually just indifference. They think your happiness is performed when you genuinely just found a good taco place. They think your peace is a weapon when it's actually just the result of good sleep and staying hydrated. You deleted their number to free up space, not to make a statement. You unfollowed them during a random social media cleanse, not as a targeted attack. You forgot their birthday because you forgot your own mother's birthday. But in their narrative, every action is deliberate, calculated, meaningful. Can we talk about how exhausting it must be to be them? To analyze every micro-expression on your face when you're just trying to get through grocery shopping. To decode every word you speak when you're literally just asking where the bathroom is, to assign meaning to every breath you take when you're just trying to exist. They're running marathons in their mind while you're taking naps. They're fighting battles you never showed up to. They're playing a game where they're the only participant and somehow they're still losing. They're shadow boxing with a shadow that isn't even yours. You move to a new city for a job opportunity. They think you're running from them or to spite them. You got a haircut because you wanted change. They think it's a symbolic severing of ties. You started working out for your health. They think it's to show them what they lost. The narcissism required to think everything you do revolves around them is astronomical. The ego needed to believe they're the sun in your solar system when they're not even a moon. The delusion necessary to think they're the main character in your story when they're barely a footnote. But here's the beautiful part about all this. Their complete misunderstanding of your existence has freed you from needing to explain anything. Their elaborate theories excuse you from providing real answers. Their projection has become your protection. Let them think you're playing 4D chess while you play Candy Crush. Let them believe you're strategizing while you're snoozing. Let them assume you're calculating while you're just vibing. Their misinterpretation has become your superpower. You don't have to be mysterious because they'll create mystery where none exists. You don't have to be strategic because they'll see strategy in your chaos. You don't have to be powerful because they'll project power onto your pajama-wearing reality. You've become untouchable not through effort, but through their inability to touch reality. You've become unreadable not through complexity, but through their tendency to overread everything. You've become legendary not through achievement, but through their need to create legends. If they could see the truth for just one day, it would shatter everything. If they could witness you struggling to fold a fitted sheet while they think you're folding realities. If they could see you Googling how to adult while they think you've mastered existence. If they could watch you eat shredded cheese at 3 a.m. while they imagine you dining on the tears of your enemy. You're not the person they think you are, and that's the greatest gift they've given you. They've created a version of you that you could never live up to or live down to. They've built a mythology around someone who can't even build IKEA furniture without crying. You trip over nothing and they think it was intentional. You forget what you were saying mid-sentence and they think it's a power move. You literally just exist as a normal, flawed human and they've turned you into some kind of supernatural entity. The gap between who they think you are and who you actually are is so vast it could swallow universes. The character they've created bears so little resemblance to reality that it's basically fan fiction. The story they're telling themselves is so far from truth it's entered the realm of fantasy. But here's where it gets interesting. Their belief in your power has accidentally given you power. Their conviction that you're important has made you important to them. Their obsession with your movements has made you unmovable in their reality. You've become powerful not through trying, but through their trying to figure you out. You've become influential not through influence, but through their inability to stop being influenced by you. You've become central to their story, not by inserting yourself, but by trying to leave. They check your social media more than you do. They remember your words better than you do. They analyze your patterns that you didn't know you had. They've become your unauthorized biographer, documenting a life you're barely conscious of living. You sneeze, and somewhere they're having a revelation about what it means. You choose pizza over burgers, and they're convinced it's symbolic. You wear the same shirt twice in a month, and they've created a theory about your emotional state. The truth is beautifully simple. You're not thinking about them when you wake up. You're thinking about coffee. You're not planning their downfall. You're planning what to watch next. You're not strategizing your next move. You're trying to remember if you have any clean socks. Your life is not the elaborate performance they think it is. It's mostly you trying to remember passwords and wondering if that food in the fridge is still good. It's you talking to yourself in different voices and trying to motivate yourself to do laundry. You're not sending them messages through your actions because you forgot they exist most of the time. You're not playing psychological games because you're too busy playing actual games on your phone. You're not building an empire. You're building the motivation to clean your room. They think you wake up and choose violence. You wake up and choose whether you can get away with not brushing your teeth if you're not leaving the house. They think you're plotting and scheming. You're actually just trying to remember the plot of the show you're watching. The most beautiful part of all this is your complete oblivion to their turmoil. While they're spiraling about your intentions, you're spiraling about whether you're using too much dry shampoo. While they're losing sleep over your actions, you're losing sleep because you started a new series at midnight. You're living in peaceful ignorance of the chaos you're supposedly orchestrating. You're blissfully unaware of the psychological warfare you're apparently waging. You're completely unconscious of the strategic genius they've assigned to you. You're out here living your normal life, making normal mistakes, having normal thoughts, while they've cast you as the protagonist in their psychological thriller. You're dealing with normal human problems, like why your plant died despite following all the instructions, while they think you're dealing with complex manipulations. The freedom that comes from their misunderstanding is unmatched. You don't have to try to be anything because they'll project everything onto you anyway. You don't have to perform because they'll see a performance in your normalcy. You don't have to be special because they've already decided you are. In their myth, you wake up with purpose and intention. In reality, you wake up and try to remember what day it is. In their story, you move through the world with calculated precision. In reality, you bump into furniture you've had for years. They imagine you in power suits making power moves. You're in mismatched pajamas making microwave meals. They see you as this unstoppable force. You get stopped by the need to take a nap at 2 p.m. They think you're unbothered and unmoved. You got emotional over a commercial about paper towels. The version of you living in their head pays rent in a penthouse of assumptions. The real you is just trying to pay actual rent. The character they've created has it all figured out. The real you is Googling, what is a 401k and should I have one? You're simultaneously their biggest threat and just a person who can't figure out how to properly fold a fitted sheet. You're their greatest enemy, and someone who talks to their plants hoping it will keep them alive. You're playing 4D chess in their mind while playing tic-tac-toe in reality. Tomorrow they'll analyze something new about you. Maybe the way you tied your shoes, or the brand of coffee you bought, or the direction you looked when you yawned. They'll assign meaning to the meaningless and find patterns in your chaos. They'll continue building their theories while you continue building sandwiches at inappropriate hours. They'll keep strategizing counter moves while you keep trying to remember if you already watched this episode. They'll keep preparing for battles while you keep battling the urge to stay in bed. You'll keep living your beautifully mundane life while they turn it into an epic. You'll keep being human while they insist you're something more. You'll keep breathing normally while they analyze every exhale for hidden meaning. The gap between their perception and your reality will continue to grow. Their theories will become more elaborate as your life remains simple. Their investment in the character they've created will deepen while you remain shallow in the best possible way. So here's to you, the accidental mastermind, the unintentional strategist, the reluctant legend. Here's to your power that comes from their powerlessness to see you clearly. Here's to your mystery, that's really just you being too tired to explain yourself. You're not playing 4D chess, you're barely playing checkers. You're not thinking 12 steps ahead, you're trying to remember what step you're on. You're not orchestrating anything except maybe the perfect ratio of cereal to milk. But in their world, you're everything they fear and admire simultaneously. You're the complexity they can't crack because there's nothing to crack. You're the code they can't break because there is no code. You're the mystery they can't solve because you're not mysterious. You're just living. Let them exhaust themselves trying to figure you out, while you exhaust yourself trying to figure out what to watch next. Let them lose sleep over your intentions, while you lose sleep because you drank coffee at 9 p.m. Let them strategize and analyze and theorize, while you just continue to exist in your beautiful, normal, chaotic human way.